Mak Iffah nak tanya, macam mana pronunciation untuk University of Portsmouth? Portsmouth. Okay, thank you. Mak Iffah tadi macam slow sikit.
Okay tak?
Sekarang okay.
Kena dekat sikit.
Alright. Okay, thank you.
perasaan benci.
masih dia. Aku akui cemburu mula menular dalam diri. Apabila kau bersama yang lain, adakah perasaan benci ini sebenarnya cinta yang masih bersemadi untukmu? Dan sebenarnya ku mengharapkan di sebalik senyumanmu itu kau juga merindui aku. Apabila kau merenung matanya, ku rebah jatuh ke bumi. Di saat kau benar-benar mahu pergi, seperti ku bernafas dalam air. Adakah perasaan benci ini sebenarnya cinta yang masih bersemadi untukmu? Dan sebenarnya ku mengharapkan di sebalik senyumanmu itu kau juga merindui aku. Dan sebenarnya aku rindu. Dan sebenarnya aku tak mampu tanpamu.
Segala yang ku pasti akan ku capai untuk mengambil hatimu, melepasi angkasa cintaku. Sesudah aku melafazkan ke semua yang diperlu, yang seperti suluan yang terang. Segala yang kau ragui akan ku padam dari hatimu, mengingkari dalaman akalmu. Takkan puas ku mengiringi semua tawa dan tangisanmu, anggun wajahmu pelita yang terang. Hatiku mahu lupamu, masih kau terindah, masih ada yang terjadi untuk kamu.
Alright, nak buat mic check kejap. Nelly, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3 testing.
Akin,
Tes komputer.
Puan Iffah. Alright.
Dan mengapa tak pun sampai bila kena cinta dan kena mengalah, mana masuk hatiku yang letih. Setelah kau nampak tetap ku masih menunjukkan arti hidupku, yang mau bersama kau buat selamanya. Hatiku mahu rupamu, masih kau
aku gagahi, berkejaran bintang di lautan, lantas kesusahan aku gagahi, berkejaran bintang di lautan, syarikat lantas kesusahan aku pedihnya percintaan, mengapa aku rela meraih bercinta sebelum tirai dusta menjadi raja asmara, gelisah mimpi datang, ku salah percaya. Gelisah dan bermimpi di angkasa berduri, tidak bisa berdiri, namun aku gagahi, berkejaran bintang di lautan, lepas kesesakan, ambillah rindu dendam, jangan hilang puncak, bercerita pada isi alam, pedihnya percintaan, mengapa aku rela meraih bercinta sebelum tirai dusta menjadi raja.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang saya ucapkan kepada semua penonton. Selamat datang ke program Ngeteh Lu. Pertama sekali, saya ingin memohon maaf kerana moderator asal iaitu saudari Amalina tidak dapat bersama kita atas sebab tertentu. Dan saya, Nelly Izzati Zulaziat akan menjadi moderator anda pada malam ini. Kami mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada para penonton kerana sudi menyertai program yang kami anjurkan pada malam ini. Kami dari pihak majlis ingin memohon maaf terlebih dahulu sekiranya kami menghadapi sebarang masalah teknikal seperti gangguan internet. Kami akan mencuba sedaya upaya untuk menjalankan program ini dengan lancar. Jika anda menghadapi sebarang gangguan internet, anda boleh menyertai semula sesi ini melalui link yang diberikan. Sebelum kita memulakan program, lebih indah jika kita mulakan program dengan bacaan doa. Oleh itu, saya ingin menjemput saudara Muhammad Akil Wajdi bin Muhammad Amin untuk memimpin bacaan doa. Dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma inna khalaqul azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbul arsyil azim. Sesungguhnya kami berhimpun pada hari ini bagi menyatakan kesyukuran di atas kurniaan-Mu yang tidak ternilai. Jadikanlah kami hamba-hamba-Mu yang sentiasa bersyukur, sama ada nikmat yang sedikit, lebih-lebih lagi nikmat yang melimpah ruah kepada kami. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Engkau berkatilah dan rahmatilah perjalanan program Ngeteh Lu pada hari ini. Sesungguhnya Engkau Maha mengetahui bahawa kami di sini ingin menimba ilmu-Mu yang sangat luas bagi mengembangkan ilmu pengetahuan kami sebagai hamba-Mu yang Engkau redai. Justeru berkati dan rahmatilah majlis kami ini. Kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu-Mu. Sinarilah hati-hati kami dengan cahaya dan hidayah-Mu. Semoga dengannya kami mudah menerima dan menghayati serta mengamalkannya. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Terima kasih kepada saudara Muhammad Akil Wajdi bin Muhammad Amin atas bacaan doa sebentar tadi. Seterusnya, saya ingin menerangkan sedikit perjalanan program kita pada malam ini. Saya akan memulakan program ini dengan memperkenalkan panel kita pada hari ini. Beliau merupakan seorang senior tax advisor yang bernaung di bawah syarikat yang bernama Deloitte Tax Services, which is a leading global provider of audit and assurance, consulting, financial advisory, risk advisory, tax and related services. Deloitte is also one of the big four accounting organisation. Beliau merupakan bekas pelajar Universiti Teknologi Mara UiTM Cawangan Melaka, Kampus Alor Gajah atau lebih dikenali sebagai UiTM Lendu dalam jurusan Diploma in Accountancy. Seterusnya, beliau melanjutkan pengajian di University of Portsmouth di United Kingdom dalam jurusan Accounting and Finance dan meneruskan perjalanan beliau di peringkat ACCA di London School of Business and Finance LSBF. Beliau yang dimaksudkan adalah Puan Iffah Inani binti Zainul. Kemudian, kita akan teruskan dengan perbincangan bersama Puan Iffah dan kami akan menyediakan quizzes game selama 10 minit. Melalui game ini, seorang pemenang akan dipilih melalui markah tertinggi dan akan memenangi hadiah dari pihak penganjur. Selepas itu, kita akan mengadakan sesi Q&A daripada para penonton pada sesi program ini. Presentation Slido akan dipamerkan di skrin dan saya akan memilih soalan yang mendapat paling banyak sambutan untuk ditujukan kepada Puan Iffah. Untuk makluman para penonton, kehadiran pelajar akan diambil pada hujung sesi menerusi QR code yang akan dipaparkan. Seterusnya, kita akan meneruskan dengan sesi perbincangan pada malam ini dengan soalan pertama, iaitu apakah jurusan yang Puan Iffah target untuk apply sebelum SPM dan apa reaction dan expectation bila Puan Iffah dapat melanjutkan pelajaran dalam bidang accounting?
Hai, Assalamualaikum semua. Okay, for the first question, before SPM, because memang I did target untuk go for accountancy. So before SPM, my previous school, they only offered accounting, the principal account class for art student. So untuk yang science stream, they didn't offer for the accountancy punya principal account. So but then because I really want to go for accountancy, because I really want to lah. And then I spoke to the I think during that time penolong kanan, that I wanted to go for extra class for principal account, and then they are not very encouraging lah, because there's new school, and then they say if I've not performing well, then it could affect the school ranking and something. But then I said, but then I really want to go for the principal account class, because I wanted to take the principal account for the SPM lah. And then it's really quite struggling, because I took biology, physics, and principal accounts. But then all that I still, even though it's quite struggling, but then I still can manage lah. And then when I know that after SPM, I really get the result lah. Quite it's not quite okay lah. I mean, I get what I really aiming for lah.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, apakah satu perkara yang Puan Iffah rasa bersyukur kerana melakukannya pada masa lalu, mungkin dari segi kemahiran ataupun perbuatan ataupun aktiviti keagamaan yang membantu Puan Iffah mencapai kedudukan yang sekarang?
Because from study journey to the working to the working environments, I should say macam I did some like mentoring program, so that macam you at least you interact with people, and then you akan rasa macam you are contributing well to the orang sekeliling lah. And then from there you can adapt some during your study, and then during your work pun, because in my current company, they also like do CSR lah, corporate social responsibility program, which is that when I took part, it seems like giving me something like encouraging lah, so that so when you did something you communicate with people, and then you're contributing to people, you will see like something different. Like it's not only like during study and then working, it's more towards yourself. But then when you do something towards others, then you can feel the difference lah. So that's one thing that I'm grateful for.
Oh, so it means that macam CSR, it really helps you into building yourself to like more confidence level, or just like making you close to people around you.
Yes, because sometimes when you do the CSR program, right, you wouldn't know that who you would lies with, who you will be encountering with. So during that program, you will see that something that you will see that you can achieve that apart from your study or apart from your working environments.
Meaning that Puan Iffah, you actually gain a lot of experiences and exposure from the CSR programs that you joined previously.
Yes, true.
So guys, if in the future, if you guys want to be more active, you can join CSR activities so that you can interact with people, and by the same time, it helps for your networking. Okay, for the next question, what is your current job scope in your company?
Okay, currently I'm working with Deloitte, Deloitte Touche Tematsu, but then there is sub under Deloitte, which is Deloitte Tax Services. The job scope that I'm currently, the position that I currently hold is Senior Associate of the Indirect Tax team. So basically it's more like liaising with the indirect tax, which is like sales tax, service tax, digital service tax, and then custom related matters. So it's overall it's more like law, because you need to know the Custom Act, the Sales and Service Tax Act, something like that. Yeah.
So I have a question which comes from my mind, which is when it comes to tax, people are reminded by GST and sort of stuff. Are you actually doing it as part of your job?
Yes, because we are helping the client to like do the the advisory work. Is more to like advisory work, and then the compliance work. When it comes to compliance work, then we will be helping. We'll be assisting the client to submit their monthly return or quarterly return for the SST lah usually.
Meaning that, like, if I'm not mistaken, do you actually study, do you take the subject of tax when you were studying diploma in accountancy at UiTM?
Yes.
Does it-
Business tax.
Oh, business tax. Does it actually contribute a lot when you start working?
It's I should say the scope is different because for business tax it's more like general it will tell you the law for the general, as in for the business lah. It means overall like covering the companies, the and then the tax law. But then for my current job, it's more like current law lah, like indirect tax law lah, more towards service tax, because that one I don't think it would they would touch on during diploma studies.
So, meaning that diploma studies is quite like general.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
So, which level of studies do you think the tax subject is actually very very deep?
The one that I really got one subject for tax that we went very deep lah, during my degree level. That one is like a touch on, like I got that taxation subject for like 3 semesters, and then the 2 semesters they talk about taxation law. So which is very very long drag for the subject.
So, when you were studying tax, when you were studying during your diploma and degree, do you feel like tax is a burden for you to study, or you just enjoy it?
To be honest, in diploma studies is quite during my diploma studies is still okay. It's just that when it comes to degree, it start to like touch on very deep into the law, which is I don't really like it, to be honest. But then you know, like when you study, you still have to like go for it lah, whether you like it or not. You don't have no choice, right? So yeah, I just go for it lah.
So, while you working overall from the beginning of your career, when you just fresh grad until right now, what did you do when you just after you finish your degree?
After I finish my degree, I still feel like whether I should go for ACCA. I mean any of the professional cert, or should I apply for to work? And then because I did ask around lah, from many people experience is like if you go for work first and then you wanted to continue studies, if you lose your momentum, then you will feel like then forget, you won't pursuing your study anymore. So you just work, because you know that when you start work, you will have your own commitment and everything. So you don't want to like let go your work just because you wanted to study. And then because of that, so many opinions that I did ask around, then people say better go for ACCA first. And then I went for ACCA. When I went for ACCA, I got some issue with my visa, because I took my ACCA in London. So during that time, I cannot extend my visa period. So I left with 2 more papers. So I came back to Malaysia. Then I think after a month after that, I got a job. Once I got a job, it's like a long drag to finish off that 2 papers. So for me, it's like better. For me, it's better for you to like, if you gain that momentum, you just go for it lah. You just go for a study first, finish off your study first.
Oh, so meaning that you when you just got your job, you haven't finished your ACCA papers yet.
Not yet.
Oh,
Mm.
meaning that do you do it part-time after that?
Yeah, I do it self-study during
So-
that time. But then, when you got you work, and then it's like you will get like a few commitment, work commitment, family commitment. So it's like it's also a long track lah. Yeah, from to finish off that 2 papers also, it's like took me like 3 years compared to the 4 papers that I set in London. It's just like 1.5 year for that 4 papers. But therefore, to finish off 2 papers, I took almost 3 years. It's because like when you went for working, and then your company doesn't allow you to go for exam, because previously for ACCA, they always do their exam on the first week of the month, which is like, most people go for ACCA because you're working in accountancy background lah. But then during that period, it's always a busy period. Then your boss would say, no, you cannot go, because who else will do your closing? And then no one will do a backup for you lah, because they're also busy with their own accounts to close off. And then they keep people. Honestly, people would be unwilling to support you or during that period. So I hardly get exam leave lah. So that's why it's like long track.
It's like I heard about how people said like, oh, you can apply for exam leave, but actually the commitment is the one that actually holds you back from
True.
you take the exam leave. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Even that, because after I came back to Malaysia, is after 1 month I got my first job, and then during that period I'm still under probation. Then obviously my boss would say, you're under probation, so you have to like to entitle for the exam leave in my previous company, you have to finish off your probation period first, and then within that probation period you are not entitled to apply leave. So it's like, yeah, you have to like delay off your exam for ACCA.
So I suddenly had a question in mind, like, actually, how long do you work with that company, at the first company that you go for?
Just 9 months.
Oh, just 9 months.
Because they hold me like it's best for me not to reveal the company's name lah.
Yes,
But
yeah, sure.
then it because after I finish off my probation, they asked, I did book for my exam, ACCA exam, but then they said, oh, I got no backup. So because you always have your alternate to at least to back you off for the closing. And then during that period, I have like 4 entities to close off. And then I already paid off my exam fee. And then they say I cannot go for leave. Because of that, I feel like I really cannot tahan with this company. I mean, previously you give me a reason because I'm under probation. So, but now I finish off a probation. I don't want like you keep on promising me this and that, but then I keep losing myself. So I think it's time for me to let go. Even though people will say, "Hey, come on, it's just your first job, and then you already leave your first company." Then I said, I during that period I heard a lot some comments. I should say mean comments. They said, "Don't think because you're overseas graduate or you think you finish off your you are on your ACCA journey, so you can." Being dibanding lah, you just leave off your first job and then go for a second job. But then for me, it's like if I keep on staying in this company and then if something like that keep on happening, so it won't benefit me at all. So I said, even my family also not really keen lah, because I think my first job at my 23 years old, so it's quite laid back lah. So
Yeah.
some people right, I think after degree they start work. So for me, in terms of work experience, I start a bit late. But then for me, if I keep on losing the benefit for myself, then I should just leave. That's why I just
Yes. Sometimes people could be so mean even though they are part of your family, right? So actually what matters the most is knowing yourself better and something that could benefit us.
yeah,
So
true.
I think that's a very good decision that you've made because it it relates to money also when it comes to ACCA papers, because I heard that it is very expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then the company not even reimbursing me for the studies and the exam itself because I paid for on my own. So I feel that I really need to let it go because the company doesn't allow me to go for the studies, for the exam. So after that, because I really missed the exam, and then after that period, the syllabus changed, so I need to go for another class. So that's why I feel like I really cannot, because if they didn't allow me the next time and then the syllabus changed, do I need to go like I need to start over again? Then I say I really cannot. That's why I just move on to my second job.
Yes, that could be very tiring to start it over and over
Yeah.
again. So when it comes to syllabus, does it change like what does it covers, like this format or just the
Uh,
questions type?
it's what the topics that they covers, because for ACCAs, right, they have like their timeline for the subject. Even for example there is a changes in GST to SST period, right? But when we already in a SST era, the question in ACCA for Malaysian taxation paper version, they still ask for GST because the cut off period is still not still I think two semesters ahead lah. So that's why you're still like even though it's currently they do SST, but they keep on asking for the question for GST because people already study for the few I think for few exam sitting ahead lah.
Understood. Meaning that you accomplish, meaning that you took your ACCA papers, the balance of ACCA papers in Malaysia.
Yes.
Oh, meaning that you just have to book a center and
Yeah.
participate in it. So when it comes to self study, you have to go for like a tuition or just like
During that time, I went, I think only for one subject, I went for a class lah, but I took it during weekend class, as in part time lah.
meaning that you were working also during that time.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that must be tiring
yeah.
because you have to juggle between
Work and
few
studies.
different commitments. Oh,
Yeah.
so let's move on to the next question. There's no more question by now because we will be going for quizzes. There is a 10-minute breaks right now, which is quizzes game session. So, semua diminta untuk menyertai quizzes dengan mengisi kod yang akan dipaparkan sebentar saja lagi. Hadiah akan diberikan kepada peserta yang terbaik. So, good luck everyone. All the best. Siapa yang menang tu akan dapat hadiah. Hadiah tu berapa nilai? Tak tahu. Nanti yang dapat tu akan tahulah. Okay. Good luck. So yeah, you guys can I will pass it to Aisha to lead this session. Thank you, Aisha.
Alright, hello everyone. My name is Aisha and I will be your host for kita punya 10 minutes break tonight. So everyone can join the quiz by entering the code yang tertera dekat skrin sekarang. Memang cek lah kat luar. Alright, let's wait for some more people to join because we will give one prize to only one person. So let's wait for some more people to join the quizzes, okay? So let's start our quizzes session. Let's go for the first question. Top rated tourist attraction in Malaysia. You have 45 seconds to answer. Remember, we have only one winner, and the winner will get a special prize. The code is already on the picture. You can see the answer is very easy. Alright, time's up. Let's see who is on the top. Good job. Okay, go on to the next question. Kes pertama COVID-19 di Malaysia adalah pada. Jawapan tu is a little bit confusing. Tapi harap semua it's easy. Okay, cepat kita nak kejar to the top.
Go guys, go.
Alright, time's up. Kita tengok siapa yang ada dekat atas sekali. Wow, congratulations.
Yes.
What happened to Pia? She was the first one just now.
Got the wrong answer maybe.
It's okay, we have more question. Let's continue.
Let's go.
Negeri terbesar di Malaysia, adakah negeri 9? because they have 9 daerah?
Laju betul semua orang jawab soalan ni.
Mana satu agak-agak? Cepat-cepat yang belum jawab tu. It's so easy. Time's up. Okay. Mari kita tengok siapa yang dapat atas sekali. Good
For
job,
your
Haikal.
Haikal.
Siapa? Okay, tak apa. We have more question. Everybody can berebut for the first place. This is such an easy question. MKN stands for what? Tak boleh salah soalan ni. Okay. Tengok jawapan dia. Annyeong. Good job. Kejar lagi. Aku dapat hadiah nanti.
Go, go, go.
Next question. Pada tahun bilakah nama tanah Melayu ditukarkan kepada nama Malaysia? Ni pun boleh tahan senang ya. Rasa apa jawapan dia? Have 3 more person. Cepat. Alright, time's up. Siapakah yang ada dekat atas sekali? The same person. Alright, tak apa. Ada lagi banyak soalan. Boleh kejar untuk dapatkan tempat pertama semua. Soalan seterusnya. Berapakah kadar vaksinasi lengkap bagi populasi dewasa sekarang? Berapa kurang agak? 97.4? 99? Boleh Google ni semua ni. Alright. Up. Tengok siapa yang ada dekat atas sekali. Oh, dah tukar. Siapa agak-agak Syah S?
Syah S. Mystery.
Okay, soalan seterusnya. Sambung rangkap lagu negaraku. Rakyat hidup bersatu dan apa agak-agak? Ni tak boleh salah ni. Tulis jawapan anda. Apakah rakyat hidup bersatu dan okey. Time's up. Kejap yang lain boleh teka lagi siapa yang jawab salah ni. Tak apa, kita pergi kepada soalan seterusnya. WHO stands for what? Adakah World Health Organization, World Health Organization, World Health Organization ataupun World Heritage Organization? We go on. Oh, nampaknya Haikal sudah mengatasi. Jawapan adalah World Health Organization.
Go guys, go guys.
Dapat menang hadiah. Cepat kerja tempat pertama. Jawab cepat-cepat. Ni korang boleh Google. What is the answer? Actually answer dia quite easy. Cuba tengok dekat pilihan tu, apa yang korang rasa is the greatest challenge. Apa dia? Cepat Google untuk dapatkan jawapan yang betul. Nanti akan ada hadiah untuk pemenang seorang sahaja. Jawapan apa yang korang rasa betul? Alright, time's up. Apakah jawapan dia? Kita tengok siapa yang ada dekat atas sekali. Wow. Haikal, good job.
Hi.
Jawapan dia adalah eradicate poverty worldwide. Okay. Do you enjoy our quizzing session? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
So much? Which one? Maybe. Alright. Who's on top? Let's see. Haikal, good job.
Yeah.
So pemenang boleh isikan detail dekat nombor yang akan diberi dekat chat. That's all for our 10 minutes break. Thank you so much everyone for joining our quizzing session. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you Aisha and congratulations to Haikal. Walaupun I was expecting someone who is named as Anyong would win the session just now, but seems like I got it wrong. My expectation was wrong, and the winner is Haikal. Congratulations again. Okay, so thank you for joining us just now. Terima kasih kepada semua peserta yang menyertai aktiviti kuisis sebentar tadi. Pemenang perlu memberi detail kepada nombor yang akan diberi pada ruangan chat. Jangan lupa. Okay, so let's go to the next question to Puan Iffah, which is, apa pendapat Puan Iffah sekiranya selepas diploma? Macam ada certain students macam tertanya-tanya lah, is it a good choice for them to continue directly to get to take their ACCA professional papers after their diploma, or should they just like go for a degree first and then work after degree and go for ACCA? Now, what do you think? Like, what is the pros and cons if they directly take ACCA after their diploma studies?
For me, it's like because I took my ACCA after my degrees, so I got I think 12 paper for exempted. So it's like I don't have to go through so much exams for ACCA, because I don't know if you are aware that some people will say ACCA is like kind of a tough paper for you to get through. So for me, it's like if you go for the pro is like if you go for degree, so you will skip a few papers, but which I think like if you go for ACCA after your diploma studies, is like at least you can familiarize your understanding, and then your how the exam papers look, it would be different from the professional cert level with your I think that they changed the name already for I think SBL paper. So that one is at least you get your you get a hold of the how the exam paper looks like, rather than if you go after degree, even though you can skip a few more papers, but then maybe it's new things for you. Because it will be really different from your degree studies. So it's like pro and cons. Either you if you think you can like adapt quickly with your ACCA studies, then you can go after degrees. If not, if you think you are not slow learner, but then for me, I always like study last minute. Last minute study is like my things lah, because I should admit that my memory is not that good. So if I study too early, I would tend to forget things lah. So I would rather study like 2 to 3 weeks before the exam for the ACCAs. So if you think that you can adapt, you can memorize things fast and everything, then maybe you can go after degrees. If not, then it's best for you to go after diploma, I should say.
So from here, I heard a very different view, because I heard somebody actually told me like, oh, it is better for you to go for degree, and then after you take your degree, you just go for work first, and then you take your ACCA paper, because when you work, you are familiar with the working experience and it's related to the ACCA papers. That's from what I heard. But from what I heard from Puan Iffah right now, I'm quite surprised that there is pros and cons, which is if you study ACCA at the very early level, it's actually give you benefits, which you will be familiar with the types of question like format and stuff, and you know how the tricks and tips, right? In tackle those kind of question and answers. So in terms of like study last minute, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of students who actually study last minute. But guys, remember, ACCA is a different level. You cannot just study like 2 or 3 days before you take your ACCA papers. You have to study at least 2 or 3 weeks in order for you to pass the papers. And don't forget, ACCA papers requires a lot of money. You have to be mindful of that. So that's interesting about ACCA. What about if there are students who are actually interested to take the other kind of professional papers, not only like ACCA? What do you think about that?
I think it's more or less, after all, the end game is that you bring your CA to your names lah. But then it just like for CPA, I know it's open book studies, open book exam. It just that from what I heard lah from my friends, they were, even though it's open book test, it's not as easy as that. You must memorize which pages is that. It's like, for me, it's extra things that you need to do lah. But then for me, different like ICA, EW, CIMA, that one is really all is a professional qualification. It's just that I don't, ACCA is like you can go most of the. I'm not every firm but then most of the firm will ask, the first question, do you go for ACCA? That's the first question. Then when we say no, and then they was okay, what other qualification that you went for? It's like the first question that pop up for the the companies, the big, usually big four they will ask whether you hold the ACCA cert or any others. It's like it's not like the second grade of professional qualification. It's just that people always like, oh, okay, for accountancy is always ACCA or something like that.
Meaning that although there are many professional papers out there, but the one that most of the working like maybe the HR would ask the first thing come in their mind is, do you take ACCA? Is that so?
Yes, because you are working in the professional because accountancy needs expertise, right? So the first question they will ask whether or not you have the professional qualification. So even in my first job and my second job, I don't have that. I don't have the qualification yet. But then even in my third job, which is my current job in Deloitte, that one I still pursuing my ACCA. But then they say because in my area, they say I don't need my ACCA. But then they are open for me to get my ACCA because one more thing I would like to add to your point before, because you said is I go for your work first, then only go for the ACCA, right?
Yes.
I should say that one also is like for audit, yes. If you are working as an audit intern or audit associate, maybe it will help you a lot in your ACCA papers. But for others, right, it's more like you read your ACCA material, memorize, then answer. And then I should say for ACCA, the question is not hard at all, but there is a but it's time management. The question is give you like 3 to 4 pages. You need to manage your time. It's like how you do in your daily job during your works, because it's like during your job you'll get like a few assignments at one time. Some come first and then some will come later. But then most likely the one that comes later is the one that most urgent. But which one you will tackle first? Whether the one that come in first or the one that come in later? That kind of things are same like ACCA. It's like it's not a straightforward question but that is like it's like in that 4 pages there will always be an answer for the question. It's just that how do you tackle your time? You can write in the whole, you can get the answers right for the whole question. For the first question, which is like will bring you almost 30 marks, but then you always use up all that 3 hours, something like that. So but then you still didn't answer the rest of the question, which is your passing mark is 50 marks. So it's like you wasted your time on the first question because you know it's pretty the answer is there. So you keep on like okay, I calculate this, and then I write in this answer and everything, but then you forget that the time is running out already. So I think most of like people surround me who took ACCA, they always say, oh, my time management is bad. That's why I didn't answer the last 2 questions and everything. So it's like, if you let go of that 2 questions, it's like 50 marks already. The first 2 questions will cost you 50 marks. Even if you can answer, I doubt that you can answer like 50 or 50 lah. But then if you didn't answer the rest of the 50 marks, so you need to make sure that you get the first 2 questions correct. So it's like, it's more like time management. It's really relate to your working condition. And then for ACCA, I really think that if you go for your audit, if you're working in audit departments, then I think yeah, it will help a lot because whatever you do, that's what you will just write in your paper. That's how it does lah. But then for others, it's like in text paper, it's not really like unless you are in advisory. In text advisory, whatever you wrote to client, that's how you wrote in your paper. So it's like really helps you a lot lah. But then if you are like you just start works and then you go for ACCA, then I doubt that you have much experience in advisory to do that. Yeah.
That's quite interesting because we're all of us, which is in this Google Meet, except for Puan Iffah, have never have the experience to take ACCA papers. So that's like a good exposure to know that, wow, that is how it actually feels like to take ACCA paper, which is you have to be very mindful of your time and whatever you do, it actually reflects to the marks and your time. So you have to be good in both. So that's quite interesting. So at here we can see the pros and cons not only for ACCA papers. We also can see the pros and cons for the other kind of professional paper, which is like ICAEW, CIMA and CPA. So each of the professional papers have its own benefits and if you want to know about more about working experience, then you have to know that the real outside, the real world outside there, what is the demand from the real career working real work in the world like that. So we have another question which is seterusnya, siapa yang influence Puan Iffah untuk mencapai position yang Puan Iffah berada sekarang? Maybe like friends, or maybe like your family, like your brother, or your study group buddy, or maybe your just anyone that really gives a big influence in your life.
For me, it's like because my dad was not holding a big position or what. It's just that he always not nurturing me like it. Just like he always asked me whether or not I would like to go for accountancy studies. So from there, it's like I maybe just give it a try lah. Even though that back in my school studies, my dad always went home late because he do the account and finance. So it's like, then I keep on thinking whether or not I would live the same way like he did lah. Because it's always usually the month end lah. You always you came home like 12 in the midnight and something. Sometimes you even stay in office to finish off your closing lah. But then I feel like because I really want to pursue my accountancy studies, and then my brother also he's more to finance industry, so my dad encouraging me just to go for it lah. So it's like more towards my family. So I have few more cousin also in accountancy studies, so I think it's not as bad as what people would say about studying accountancy. Yeah.
So it actually started from like you give it a try, right?
Yeah.
So when you give it a try, you start to like study it and then take it quite seriously until you realize, oh, it's like this. This is how it works. So do you feel like do you feel like it's like worth the try that you did?
Because at some point you would say when you are kind of depressed because of your work, you would say
Overwhelmed, yes.
You would say that I really hate this work and something like that lah. But then in the end, you will always get the things done lah, because you know, first thing is your responsibility because of the works lah, your commitment. And then you would say that it's because you know you go for it because of your passion. So you will just like you telan je lah, something like that lah.
Yeah. Wow. So it's like there is no way turn back, right?
Yeah,
Like you've already started it.
yeah,
So
and
like,
then you already work in that industry, even though like initially I work for I fully do accounting lah, and then because I should say that even though you are in Big Four, you're still impacted by the COVID lah, and then the client choose to like do the account internally, so I got seconded to indirect tax team, and then from there they absorbed me permanently to the indirect tax team. Honestly, it's I'm unwilling to do that lah, because for me I would love to do accounting more than the advisory work, because in advisory work I hardly see numbers, because it's like you like writing your karangan the whole day. So you need, and then you cannot, you must quote this law, that law to the client, which is like I said earlier lah, I'm very bad at memorizing things. So law, you need to memorize things, right? So I will always need to go back and then check the law, the act, the regulation and everything. So honestly, it's really not piss me off lah, but at initial place it's like get me hard to adapt with the advisory work, because it's really about advising your clients. But then if you do compliance work, which is like you help client to you assist client to submit your tax return, something like that one you still can see numbers lah. You can still use your calculators, but then in advisory work you can keep your calculators in your wardrobe already.
wow. So does it like, when it comes to advisory, does it like you see based on their reports and then you come up with an advice, or?
Not because if indirect tax is quite big scope lah. For example, if they're asking you, oh okay, if I provide you with this kind of service, will I need to charge a service tax? But then you cannot go straight and answer like, okay, you need to register for service tax and charge your customer. You need to like read through their agreements, their billing, how they do their invoicing and everything. Then only you can like advise your client, okay, from here, based on this act, based on this regulation, then you need to register for service tax. Oh, but then there is exemption or relief that your company entitled to. Then you don't need to charge your customer for the service tax, something like that. So it's not like very straightforward. Like in accounting, I know if I miss out 1 cent, I know my account won't balance lah. That one is kind of pretty straightforward. But in advisory, there is no right or wrong answer. And then obviously you cannot advise your client not wrongly. If it's wrong, then you get sued lah. That obvious. But then if you must know that some of your clients, they tend to like rely on you so much. So even though for example, if they call me and then I say, oh okay, I will have a look, but then I think it's not taxable, and then they will just the next day they won't email you anymore. So they just rely on what you said earlier on, but that one is unofficial. So it's like a kind of like a dangerous kind of thing. advisory, I should say. But in accounting, yeah, it's still high risk lah. You cannot mess up with your client's accounts. But then it tends to be like more, how should I say? It's more like you can be more cautious because you know the principle. I should say, yeah.
Oh, now that I actually studied law for my fourth semester and fifth semester, it really sounds like law papers. Like, wow, you have to know the case studies, right? Something like that, and then
Yes,
come up
yes.
with like a full answers, and not just simply jump into the conclusion.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, when you take your law papers, don't take it simply easily as how as the other papers are, because I noticed. Actually, it's not based on what I noticed only, because I heard a few lecturers also told us that, accounting students, they don't like to do theories kind of questions. So, that meaning that when they do their calculation parts, usually the lecturers will say that they will skip the theory parts because of their interests are more towards calculation, right? So, because most of the people, they have this kind of expectation that when it comes to accounting, it is about numbers.
True.
But the truth is actually it has theories, and you have to you cannot just take it simply easily, right? You have to like
You need
take note of it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And when it comes to when you have to go for a higher level, you just cannot simply push it away, the theories and all, because it will somehow come as your come out as your job, you know. So you have to like involve yourself into the theories. Okay. So we have like the last question that we have prepared, and then for this last question is that, apakah nasihat Puan Iffah untuk pelajar-pelajar yang menonton? Maybe dari berkenaan study tips atau career tips, like maybe
Okay.
yeah.
For me, as in, based on my experience, for study, whether you like it or not, I mean, sometimes you have like you favorite some of the subjects, so you think like, since I like this subject more, so I will study more on this. And that maybe you take like leave for other subjects, but for me it best that whatever it is, because you already in it, so you need to like really give yourself to really study well. I'm not saying study hard, because sometimes no matter how hard you study, if you're not focusing, or you can study hard, but what you need to know yourself better. Whether you are like, for me, I'm really last minute person, because I know I cannot memorize well. So what I do is like I prepare the notes earlier on, but then in terms of memorizing, I'll do like it maybe a week before the exam. That one during my diploma studies and degree studies, not for my ACCA study. If I do in my ACCA studies a week before, then I should just don't attend the exam. It's really different. But then in terms of like working, I would suggest like some people, it's not wrong to aim high, but then whenever you can go like, sometimes people will say, I really want to go for a big four. But then, you know what, if you, it depends, it really depends, because I know different people have a different situation, different environment. But then, not many people survive in big four, starting from your lower level. Because it's like, in big four, I should say, is kind of pressuring, because obviously you are in big four, people will expect more from you. It's the same from your superior. It means, hello, you are in big four, and then you give me this kind of work. So you will easily get ditched from your bosses lah. So that's one thing. So it's like if you go like for smaller firm, I should say is you get a bit more experience. Because in smaller firm they tend to give you all-rounder works. So at least you can gain that experience. Rather than in Big Four, if you are in that teams, you are forever in that teams. Means if you are, for example, if you're in audit departments and then you are handling oil and gas company for the audits. So you always forever in that teams. Unless you willing to switch partners, but then it will give you some like what happened, you don't like your partners, why you change your team. So it's like the people will get different interpretation in terms of that. But then if you go for smaller firm, I should say you can gain more experience. So sometimes when you, in terms of studies and workings, it's not necessarily after you finish your diploma studies or degree studies, then only you go for working. Maybe during your exam break, I know it's now with this kind of COVID situation and everything, not many people, not many companies were willing to pay you for the part-time job. But then maybe in terms of knowledge or experience, you can go and ask a smaller firm, maybe for internship, you go for it. At least you get a whole of how it's really works in working environments. Yeah.
That's a different, not really different, but it's quite interesting to know that sometimes when you work in, because there would be people around you, like when you're saying that you study in accounting, they will like, oh, Big Four, study in accounting, Big Four. So they will just straightly assume that you will go for Big Four. But to be honest, it's not to be honest, it's like in another side of view, there are actually benefits if you work not only in Big Four. I mean, like you go into smaller firms because you will get like more exposure into what you're doing. And then it's like what based on Puan Iffah said is if you're already in Big Four, you're just like permanently be there, and it's like contribute to your professionalism towards that kind of field. Am I right? Like you're just specialized in that.
Yeah. So it's your expertise. It won't widen your expertise because you already in there. Is from what people around me in the office is like, for me currently I'm handling more to the manufacturing team. So we always get a company, the client coming from the manufacturing company. So we hardly get from the financial institution because other teams is handling that. So we won't like, you won't go and snatch your other team's clients, right? Just because you wanted to give it a try, unless you go and change the team. But then it will give a wrong interpretation. What happened to your team? Something wrong with your teams, right? That's why you are asking to change to another team, something like that. Because in Big Four, they that's why they kind of like having this kind of aspect, because you only focus on that. So even if they twist the question and everything, you still can answer that because you always do that in daily basis. So it's like you A to Z, you still know what it is. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very good insight. So we will be going for the next one, which is the questions that were provided were from us. And now we're open for a Q&A session, which there are some students who have already asked it through Slido. So let me just read it like thank you for answering all the questions that we have provided. So now let's begin with the Q&A session. There are several questions that were asked from the students, and I will pick the one that that have more likes. As you can see in the slide, you can see that there are like 3 likes, 2 likes, and 1 like. So I will pick from the top questions first. Okay, so I think this question, the first question would be something that something that students like they are quite wondering about this question, and they are quite concerned about this. So I shall ask it to Puan Iffah, which is, adakah accountant masih relevant untuk 5 tahun akan datang? Because there are people who say like there is AI implementations, right?
Yeah, but then you still need people to involve in. So honestly, I heard this. I read some article about this. I think few years back, but still, I'm still in accountancy firm because it's like for me it's still relevant because no matter how you do automation on it, you still need people to do some governance on it because impossible like even you have a robot, you still need someone to maintain it. So it's the same things. Now we have like even for the advisory work, we have like a generic answer. Okay, this client have this issue, so our advice will be something like this. It's kind of generic, but then you still need someone to verify because is that really this client something got this kind of backgrounds and everything? Does this advice applies to this company? Something like that. It's not like, oh, okay, this company must do option A. So that it won't always apply the same answer. So for me, it was still relevant. And then if it's really not relevant, I think most of the university will close off the course by now.
Yeah, so meaning that like different clients have different kind of background, so there are different kinds of different kind of way to tackle their
Problems,
problems.
issues, yeah.
Okay, so now we as a student we can feel a bit relief because this question have been like quite famous among the students, whether accounting is actually accountancy field is relevant, and should student actually pursue accountancy in the future, you know. So thank you Puan Iffah for the clarification. So the next question is, sebagai seorang accountant, adakah lebih baik bekerja sendiri dengan membuka firm ataupun bekerja dengan orang?
Okay, this is a good question now. But then, okay, bekerja sendiri. Before bekerja sendiri, you must have your experience because first of all, bekerja sendiri means you have people. You need to jaga a few people in your own companies or your own firm. But then kalau you sendiri pun tak pernah explore, you experience working with people, how do you manage people then? I mean, if you are having a very good leadership, maybe that one different kind of story lah. But then if you, for me, you work, I have one of my uncle lah. He still work with people. I mean, not work with people. He's a director of for few listed company, but still he have his own firm. So it's like doesn't matter. You can have your own firm by work and then work with others. So it's like win-win situation because if you own your own firm, you can manage your own times however you want it. But then when you work for others, you also get the exposure from the other company. Yeah.
So there is like a win-win situation right there. So like maybe the students right now, they can start to plan, to open up their own firm, but also you have to be mindful that you have to be expertise in your areas, because you're opening a firm, and it involves clients, and it's not an easy way to go, but surely you can plan it for your future. Yeah, so that's a good insight. So for the next question is that pada pandangan Puan Iffah, adakah lebih baik untuk sambung ACCA selepas degree atau sambung ACCA ketika masih bekerja, part-time atau full-time student?
I'm not sure if you're aware of there's a program under ACCA. If you're taking ACCA, you also at the same time get a degree from Oxford Brook University. So it's like that one, if you don't go, that one for diplomas. Usually from diploma you can go straight to that program. I got one of my friends. She graduated even earlier than me, and then finished off her ACCA even earlier than me, because we went we were classmates in UiTM Lendu back then. But then she finished off hers very quick, because she went for after diploma she went for ACCA directly. So even though she need to take a lot more papers than me, but then at the same time she already pursuing her degree, because there is that one program lah. If like I said earlier, if you think you can adapt quickly, then I would rather go to study ACCA together with my degree rather than do my ACCA during my working, because when you work, I should say, works will eat you up lah. Even during your weekends, you will still need to work sometimes. Not sometimes, that one sounds a lie lah. But then most of the time you will need to work during the weekends or stay up lah.
Oh, so meaning that even about the program that she took, meaning that even if she finish her diploma and take her ACCA, it's mean like she automatically got a degree.
If you enroll in that program, but I think it's open to any ACCA student that haven't hold any degree. So basically, if you are holding diploma, then you can apply for it. So I think that's the best and fastest ways lah. Then after that, it's like, because whatever you study is like almost applied to the degree studies as well. So at that time, your mindset is as a student. But then if you go for work and then ask for and then go for ACCA, it's like at one time you tend to be like a student, then the next day you are as an employee. So it's like you need to juggle lah. But then this one is like you go for ACCA and then degree at the same time. So it's kind of like for me lah, I think it will be the best way.
That's really interesting. Meaning that if the students who want to apply for that kind of program, do they have to is it under institutions or it is directly from ACCA?
It's directly from ACCA. I think when you enroll in ACCA, you can at the same time you can directly enroll for that Oxford Brook, because that one you do online. You don't have to attend any classes in the university itself.
Because I am quite a bit curious about when it comes to degree, there are people saying about our degree involves like assignments and all, and like
final year
presentations.
Paper. Yeah.
So that's
because it's joint program with ACCA. I think they tailored most of like ACCA studies, but then you still need to prepare for the final year paper, FYP. So that one is like your thesis. So you need to get it done, and then once you pass that, you get your degree. sometimes you get your degree first before your ACCA.
Oh,
Even faster.
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, there is another question from Mat. Apakah daya tarikan yang perlu ada pada seseorang accountant auditor untuk bekerja di syarikat-syarikat ternama?
The daya tarikan tu, I should say, you cantik ke you tak cantik ke, that one is like different kind of stories lah.
Yeah.
But then I would say if you go for interview, then be professional, because that one is like that's how people see you. You perceive people on how you look at the interviewer to the company. So for me, professionalism is, you need to have that lah. I think I went for interview in the Big Four before. I even saw someone wearing a slipper. So I mean, even if in your uni you are not allowed to do so, right? So for me, you have to like know at least the ground rules lah. If you go like that, I think they will straight away chase you out. So it's like, I know that usually because I had it before lah. The student mindset, I wanted to go for a big firm, a Big Four, or well-known companies. But then, since you aim high, so you must know that you also need to put some effort on it. Takkan you go for Big Four, then even in a small company, takkan you go and pakai slipper, then you think, oh okay, this one small company je, so I can go and apply works for interview pakai cincai je. Takkan that kind of mindset, you should really get away from it.
So meaning that actually like the ground rules, no matter where you go, it is important. So just, you cannot simply take it easily.
Yeah, because you're working in professional areas, right? So you need to act like one as well.
Yeah. I think that's all from us, from the Q&A sessions, because we're not really like running out of time, but it is like we have our own time restriction, right? So all those 3 questions, we will not be answering it, because we have already been answered different types of questions that involves more interest from the other people around us. So let's wrap it up by like, terima kasih Puan Iffah kerana telah meluangkan masa bersama-sama kami pada malam ini. I hope that the audience today, they will receive new kind of insights and knowledge from our session today. So I really hope that all of our audience can make use of the new knowledge and new insights that we had today. So para hadirin diminta untuk scan QR code kehadiran yang akan dipaparkan sebentar lagi. Thank you Puan Iffah. So for this QR codes kehadiran, it will be about 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes after this Google Form kehadiran, Puan Iffah, please don't leave yet, because there will be a bit of chit-chatting session among the AJKs. Okay. So yeah, dah boleh isi Google Form kehadiran. Jangan lupa Google Form kehadiran tu, it is important because you will get your e-certs throughout this Google Form kehadiran, and there will be a few feedbacks question, and we hope that you guys can sincerely put into what you guys think of this session. So yeah. Okay, thank you again for joining us, and thank you for everyone for joining and fill in the feedbacks for us. Your feedbacks really matters. Please don't forget to follow us through our social media, which is Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, you won't be receiving any latest live as how you joined for today. Thank you again. We hope it is beneficial for you. Thank you. Bye bye.